WTMX 101.9 The Mix presents Mix Matters, a program that spotlights the people and organizations working to improve our communities. Here's your host, Susan Winsack.
Good morning and welcome to our show. It is good to have goals, and our guest today is an inspiration. Jake Beckley is a Chicago boy, and he is going to attempt to row across Lake Michigan, 65 miles, in 24 hours for Lurie Children's Hospital. And anybody who listens to The Mix knows that Lurie Children's is a place that is near and dear to our hearts. So, Jake, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
You're going to attempt to row across the lake on this Friday, September 30th.
Correct.
And before we get into the nitty-gritty and the nuts and bolts of how this is going to happen, let's talk about your inspiration. Why are you doing this?
Well, there's so many reasons, but I'll start with every year I do something a little bit different to try to raise money for Lurie's. Everything from hosting little events, or last year I did a pretty excruciating mountain climb. And this year I decided to do something a little bit different, something that I thought would push myself outside of my comfort zone, do something I've never done before. And I decided to pick up rowing. So 3 months ago, I took a learn to row class. I received a sponsorship for a fitness instructor and a gym, and kicked it into high gear. So it's now 3 months later and counting down the days until I go out there. But what really inspired me about working for Lurie's and trying to help and support them is the staff. They have such an amazing staff of physicians and nurses and all different types of people there that are different than any other hospital I've ever been exposed to. They have a passion for what they're doing. They're involved with the families and the kids, and that's something that I just want to be a part of. I personally have never been afflicted by any form of cancer or directly or indirectly in my family, but I thought that in my own way I can do something different and step up and try to help the people who have, and specifically the neuroblastoma research lab of Dr. Mary Beth Madonna.
Do you have a personal connection to her or to Lurie's?
The personal connection is that we have become friends throughout the years. My stepdaughter, my wife's daughter, was at Children's Memorial at a very young age when she was born. And Dr. Mary Beth was one of the doctors at that point, not the primary, but just one of them that was involved. And throughout the years, we became closer, and over the past 4 or 5 years, became very good friends. And since that point, we've seen the spark in her about why she's doing what she's doing, and it just attracted us to her personality and her drive. She works 20 plus hours a day, and it's all because she loves what she does, and she loves helping the kids, and she loves seeing the families' reactions and working with the families. And that just sort of kind of spread onto my wife and I, and we really just got attached to it and want to help in any way we can.
That's fantastic. And that is Jake Beckley, a Chicago boy who is going on a mission. He's going to try to row across Lake Michigan this Friday. Tell us about your training. You said you're not a rower. Are you rowing in a rowboat, a canoe, a kayak?
It's kind of a crossover between all of those.
Okay.
It's a custom boat that I built myself.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was a lot of undertaking. It took me 38 days from start to finish. It's a cross between a kayak, a canoe, and a sculling, crewing rowboat. So it has a sliding seat. It's longer than a standard canoe or kayak would be. It's wider as well to accommodate for the unpredictable waves and the currents. I had to go the custom route just because there's nothing off the shelf that I could have bought. So this was really my only option. Funny story about building this thing. I've never built anything in my life. So I'm trying my best. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm trying to talk with friends who may have done something similar. I made so many mistakes. So I had to redo a lot of work and get it to the point where it was at least able to float. And then I attempted to do the last finishing thing, which is it's a gel coat. It's like a paint. And I really messed it up. So I sent out an email to this company and tell them my story and said, I really messed this thing up. And within minutes, they wrote back saying, don't worry about it. We'll cover materials and labor. Just bring it on over and we'll do it all for you for free.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. All different types of companies and people are stepping up to try to support the cause because they believe in, I guess, me, as much as I don't want to think about that, but they believe in the cause and they believe in helping Lori Children's. And they did an amazing job. It looks beautiful. Everybody's so impressed with it.
What is the name of your boat?
So far, I don't have a name.
Okay. All right.
I have a couple ideas of what I've been thinking. I've met so many kids throughout the years who have lost their lives to neuroblastoma, and a lot of survivors as well, that I haven't narrowed it down yet. I might come up with something clever where I can incorporate everybody.
Well, good luck with that. What a mission you have been on for the past several months. So you're going to attempt to row. It's a good 65 miles across Lake Michigan. You're going to do this Friday morning. So where are you going to put in and what time are you thinking?
Well, the logistics are still being worked out.
Okay.
I'm working with NOAA, learning the Coast Guard as well. But the plan is to currently leave out of Benton Harbor, Michigan, which is almost a straight line to Chicago. And depending the currents and the waves and the winds, that may vary. But my plan is to land right by the Columbia Yacht Club, which is at the end of Randolph, in between Navy Pier and Buckingham Fountain.
I know exactly where that is. Okay. So sometime within 24 hours.
Hopefully. Yes, hopefully it's not 3 or 4 days.
And how is the rowing going?
It's going great. The training that I've been doing has really helped build my stamina and endurance. I mean, I'm not a professional rower by any means. I just picked it up 3 months ago.
Jeez.
But I think I'm doing pretty well.
Good.
And keeping up a good pace. There's a lot of things to improve, but I can improve on those things over the next days or so.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about your paddle. Now, do you have 2 oars or do you have one of those paddles with like a long stick with a paddle on each end?
No, it's 2 oars, 2 independent oars. They're approximately 8 feet long. And then there's a sliding seat rowing mechanism. So I slide forward and back. And then as I slide forward, the oars will catch in the water. And then I push off with my legs and then pull the oars into my chest, so you get much more power for every stroke. So I've been on the water a lot lately. I've been on the land training, on rowing machines and so forth. I'm not quite at the point where I can do 24 hours, but I need to get there in the next few days.
Okay.
So I'm planning on putting together a 30-minute timer, like every 30 minutes, so that it will alert me to do something.
Okay.
So I'm going to drink when I'm not thirsty or eat when I'm not hungry, so I don't get to the point of dehydration or exhaustion. And I'm going to have an arsenal of different types of vitamins and proteins, amino acids, and these gel-type substances. So anything that can sustain me, keep me going.
Sure.
And I'm also working on some form of pain management, so ibuprofen or something like that. Yeah, I'm trying to figure everything out. Still in the last legs of getting everything in order.
Well, you sound very organized, and I'm sure it'll all come together.
I have a list.
Okay.
The biggest thing I took off my list was build a boat. Top of my list.
All right. Well, that's half the battle, right?
Yeah, so that one's done. Move on.
All right. And are you going to have a boat accompany you or people checking in on you? How's that going to work?
There's 2 things. One, I'm going to have a GPS unit on the boat, so anybody can log in to the website and see where I am at any given point within seconds. It's going to update near real time. And you'll see the path I'm taking, kind of how long it's taking me to get to that point, and estimate how much further I have to go. And then as well, I'm going to have a follow chase boat within some reasonable distance for any sort of emergencies. And that boat will have Dr. Mary Beth Madonna on it, who is a surgeon, just in case anything happens there. Going to have my personal trainer on there as well. And a few other people who can provide some key support.
Wow, Team Jake. I want to remind people we are talking with Jake Beckley of the Chicago area. He is attempting to row across Lake Michigan this Friday on September 30th, and he's doing it for Lurie Children's Hospital. You mentioned a website that people want to follow you at. What's the website?
The website is row4acure.com with the number 4. So it's ROW 4 and then acure.com.
And are you accepting donations for this endeavor?
We are. And unlike most like causes like this where donations are accepted, I personally am donating all of the additional fees that go into this. So 100% of all donations is going directly to Lori's.
So all that's left is your sweat equity there, huh?
That's it. So.
We wish you the best, and
Thank
certainly we'll follow along. rowforacure.com if you wanted to get involved and support Jake on this adventure. Anything else? Any final words at all about this, Jake?
I did give a speech at Lori's last week and kind of shared how I got to where I am today and what I've been working on. And after the speech, a little boy came up to me. And this is a boy who had a big scar on the back of his head. He obviously had some very invasive surgery very recently. And he says, "Are you scared?" And because in the speech I had said, "Well, I'm terrified. I'm scared of this. This is something I've never done before." He says, I'm scared too. But he wasn't speaking being scared for me. He was talking about the treatment that he goes through. And these kids go through these things not knowing what's next, not knowing what's on the horizon. And they just so happy. These kids, they're just full of joy and, what's next? And how do I get through it? And just tell me what to do and I'll do it. It's just inspiring to look at them, hear their stories and see their reactions. So he's inspiring me to finish this.
Again, if you want to get involved or track Jake or make a donation, rowforacure.com is his website. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Good luck. This is Mix Matters on 101.9 The Mix.